Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We will continue with the topic of mechanical properties of materials. In this session, we will discuss stress strain diagram for the ductile materials. We have already discussed the ductile and brittle materials. Ductile materials are those which gives large degree of deformation under action of the tensile force prior to the fracture or failure. So stress strain diagram is constructed using tensile testing of the material. Tensile specimen is tested using universal tensile machine. This is the specimen of the tensile test. In this is the gauge length, and this larger portion of the specimen is used for the gripping. So this is gripping portion from where the jaws of the UTMs hold the specimen. On application of the load, the specimen elongates and the load is always applied gradually. Now on elongation, the strain is made by using this expression: epsilon is equal to del over L. Now this del is the deformation, and now for this case the application of the tensile force, this is the change in length, and this L is the initial length of the gauge section. And likewise the stress is made by using this expression P upon A. This is the load, the application of tensile force, and this is the cross sectional area of the specimen. Now these values are plotted using this plot. Now horizontal axis is showing the strain, on vertical axis we plot the stress, and likewise once we plot these values we get this kind of initial curve of the material. We already know that the strength is the maximum value of the stress which a material can withstand. Every material has its own value of strength and it is fixed for that very particular material, and we can define as the ultimate tensile strength for any of the material, and this is symbolized with sigma u. This is the maximum value of the stress which a material can withstand. Let's assume for a given case the stress value is now greater than this ultimate tensile stress. Now in this situation the material will fail due to the necking. Necking is just nothing but the reduction in cross-sectional area of the gauge length. Now this portion is showing the necking, that is the reduction in cross-sectional area of the gauge section. To proceed further, it is important to know the difference between engineering stress and the true stress. Now engineering stress, let's say this is denoted by sigma E. This is nothing but the calculation of the stress is used by using the initial cross section of the specimen, that is P upon A. Now in this case, for engineering stress, this is calculated using the initial cross section area of the specimen. Now for the case of true stress, this is denoted by sigma T. Again the expression is same, that is P upon A. Now in this case, this cross section area that would be used, that is the reduced cross sectional area of the specimen. Now with the reduced, the true stress is going to be more from the engineering stress. Now to plot stress strain diagram for the case of ductile material, let's assume we use the mild steel material for the stress strain diagram. Mild steel is a ductile material and it is also known as the structure material. Let's say we draw the horizontal line to show the strain and vertical line that is for the stress. Once the load is not applied, we have the zero stress and zero strain value. And let's say on the application of load, we observe that till point A, the material follows the Hooke's law. Now from 0 till A, material follows the Hooke's law, means that stress is equal to E epsilon. This E is the modulus of elasticity, that is constant, and that is the slope of the inclined line. So stress is directly proportional to the strain. So this point A is termed as the limit of proportionality. Upon further application of the force, now the curve is not following the Hooke's law, but still the material behaves in an elastic manner, means on removal of the applied load, the material will follow its backward path. So till point B, the material follows the elastic behavior. So this point is B point is labeled as the elastic limit. Now till point B, the material, once the load is removed, the material will restore its original shape and size. Now on further application of the force, let's say till point C, now on removal of the force, the material is not following its path. Now this point is termed as, labeled as the upper yield point. Point from where the yielding starts. And we know that the stresses are internal resistive forces of the body, material or molecules. Let's say we see using this diagram. Let's say we have a specimen and that is loaded in tension. The tensile force is applied. Now to know the stresses produced within the material, we use the section method and cut the specimen. Now we see this is the tensile force or the applied load, and as a result this is the force which is produced within the material. Now before yielding, this F is equal to P. That is why we use that sigma is equal to P upon A, because this P is equal to A. But after yielding, we see that the relationship is not that very, and the F, the force, the resistive force of the material, that is reduced from the applied load, and that is because of the reason that the molecules maintained, because of the closeness of the molecules within the lattice, but these are not now close, and because of the distance or intermolecular distance increase, the F force, the force F, that is now decreasing from P. Now using same expression, sigma is equal to F upon A. Since F is decreasing, the stress is also decreasing. Now that is actually the yielding phenomena, and that is why from here point C the yielding starts, and this point is termed as the upper yield point. Now if by further application of the load, let's say till point D, this yielding continued, the strain is increasing but stress is decreasing. Now this point is known as the lower yield point. Low yield point of the material. From this point the yielding is eliminated. Now from now onward, on further application of the force till point E, the stress starts increasing, and this is because of the phenomena known as the stain hardening. Again, this is caused by the dislocation of the molecules, means the molecules are dislocated within the structure previously where the resistive force was decreased because of the increase of the distance between the molecules. Now at locations the molecules are closed packed or closed, and but the lattice is not in a perfect shape, and because of this again closeness there is an increase in value of the stress, and this point E is known as the ultimate tensile stress. UTS, ultimate tensile stress. Now on further application of the load, now the necking is produced in the material, and because of the reduced cross section area the decreasing stress is decreasing, but still the strain value that is increasing, and at point E, at point F, the material breaks and fracture take place. Now this point is termed as F is the fracture or failure, where the material breaks into two. Let's we label these points. Now here A is as the limit of proportionality, this is limit of proportionality, A point. B is known as the elastic limit, and C is the upper yield point, D is the lower yield point, E is the ultimate tensile stress, and F is the fracture or failure point. Now in this diagram 2 points are very important. This point from where the yielding starts, there is a permanent deformation. The material cannot restore to its original shape and size, and F is the fracture or the ultimate the failure of the material. Now these 2 points are very important, and at point C, because the yielding starts and the permanent deformation occurs, and at F the material breaks. And for ductile materials the stress value at low yield point is taken as the strength criteria. Now we have two yield points here, C and the D. Now C is the upper yield point and D is the lower yield point. Now the designers take this lower yield point as the strength criteria for any of the ductile material, because this is the minimum value that a material has to maintain, and this is known as the yield strength of the material. And this is denoted by SYT, yield strength of the material. Now for many materials, the ductile materials, the lower yield point is not so significant. To calculate that, the offset method is used. In offset methods, now in this stress strain diagram we see that there is no significant or point which we can say that this is the lower yield point or the yield point. So for this case the offset method is used for the calculation of the yield strength, where in this offset method we use a parallel line with the OA, let's say this is the A, the limit of proportionality, we draw a parallel line, and this is at distance 2%, 0.2% from the origin, and this value is exactly as 0.02 from the, so this 0.2% is in fact the offset. We can set any value between this 0.1 to 0.5% depending on the situation. Here we use 0.2% is the offset. At this point, now this line where it cuts the stress strain curve, this point is known as the yield point, and this is also known as the proof stress. Now with this we end our discussion here. Allah Hafiz.